Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad that you decided to tune in. We have a glorious show today. Last night's game, I'm not going to lie, those are my favorite kinds because they show a lot of grit. I'm just telling you, the Dodgers had lost 3 out of 4 to St. Louis over the weekend. They got down 4-0. They had a rookie on the bump, and hey, I'll tell you what, the entire team, they rallied around, they got behind each other, and they just did what it took last night. They dug in, they got gritty, and for that, I'm so fired up about the way the Dodgers won last night. And sometimes 1 out of 162, I get all that, but you're on a road swing, you're playing 2 really good teams back to back, in the Braves and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. You just had a weekend where things were tough on you. You get down early. It just seems like some wins are a little bit bigger than others and feel a little bit better. And now as a fan, hey, I don't have to just turn the page the next morning because I don't have anything to do with it, so I can continue to celebrate with this show. So, hey, so excited about the way that the Dodgers played last night. We're going to dive into the Gavin Stone start and some of the things that went wrong there with him and talk all about that. But hey, before we dive into all that, just a reminder, we do now have the ability to donate to Dodgers Daily. Scroll down to the description. We have the link to the Dodgers Daily GoFundMe account. Just click that and you'll go right to the GoFundMe Dodgers Daily, and you can donate if you would like to do that. Also, hey, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button. I thank every single one of you guys who watch these shows every day. This show is growing, and for that, I can't thank you enough. We have the best fans in the world at Dodgers Daily, and like I said, I just enjoy all of our interactions. I enjoy watching this channel grow. Hopefully, it continues to grow in the future, thanks to all of you guys and all of you girls and all of you people out there that have helped Dodgers Daily continue to grow as far as this podcast goes. So, hey, a big thank you. And also, hey, spread the word to all your friends. And then after you become a subscriber, go ahead and turn on those notifications. That way you'll get notified every time a new video gets released. Okay, so we talked about it. I'm fired up. I love those down and dirty and gritty games. The Dodgers, they really had to dig in. One of those deals, you always talk about. I talked about it yesterday. Never as bad as it seems, never as good as it seems, and it just seems like the best laid plans. You have everything worked out perfectly. Usually those are the scenarios where nothing works out, and then it just seems like, all the odds are against you, and then all of a sudden Freddiefreeman, jdmartinez, miguelrojas, and all the veterans, I think every veteran last night except for Will Smith had a hit. So, hey, what a great game. It just seems like in those moments, whenever you corner guys like that, it seemed like the Dodgers felt a little bit cornered last night, and they came out swinging. So, hey, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive into this in depth, and let's talk Dodgers baseball. So the Dodgers are 30-19, and how about this? They are the first National League team to reach 30 wins, and they are in first place. I've talked about it. Hey, if you can somehow figure out how to win maybe 3 more of the last 5 games in this road trip and go 500 and have still a 1.5 game lead, or 1 game lead somewhere like that in the NL West over Arizona, and still have your comfortable cushion over San Francisco, which is 6 right now, and then your 8-game lead over San Diego as you leave this road trip and you come back and play the Washington Nationals, I believe, at home here. I like to go day by day, but I think your next series is at home against the Washington Nationals after this road trip. But hey, you got to focus on the road trip first, so I don't like to look that far in advance, but I do think it's the Nationals after that. We've talked about, hey, if you can just survive this road trip, get back home and get some momentum, that would be a big deal. So, hey, you're kind of looking at it like, right now you are 2-3 on the road trip. If you win tonight, you go back to 500. And then if you can figure out, with the last 4 games in, between the last game of the Braves and the 3 games in Tampa Bay, if you can split those 2 and go 500 on this road trip, that would be fantastic. I do think that would probably be good enough to keep you in first place or somewhere, very close to that. And I think that would be a success. But hey, last night was just absolutely tremendous. We saw Gavin Stone give up the 4 runs in the first inning. We'll dive into that in detail here in just a minute. But let's start with, hey, the Dodgers got down 4-0. They had a rookie on the bump. They had just lost 3 out of 4. You're on the road against a really good team that, they like to, the Braves are a team that like to front run. They like to, do things that that get the crowd excited. They like to play with a lot of adrenaline. And so, hey, they were front running last night. And to be honest with you, after they had scored, and then, they had a lot of momentum. So it was just fantastic. JD we talked about, even yesterday, that the veterans, hey, they needed to circle the wagons, and boy, did they ever. JD Martinez, 4 for 5 last night, 2 RBIs. What a night he had. He also had, the long balls as well. So JD Martinez was unbelievable. And how about Freddie Freeman going back to Atlanta? 3 big knocks and the big 3-run homer to put the Dodgers in the lead. I am still celebrating over that home run. It was just so cool. Freddie Freeman got to do it back in Atlanta, and it put Gavin Stone in the position at that time to win the game, which was super exciting as well. And then it also, obviously put the Dodgers ahead and eliminated that 4-0 lead. So that home run yesterday was very exciting to watch for Freddie Freeman. 3 for 5 on the night. Mookiebetts had an RBI, so did Maxmuncy. Davidperalta had an RBI triple. Boy, and how about Miguelrojas? I think, all in all, from a leadership perspective, from a defensive perspective, offensive perspective, energy perspective, I think this was the type of game the Dodgers have been looking for from Miguelrojas since they got him. I think this is the type of Miguelrojas they thought they were going to get. High energy, leadership, great defense, a couple of timely base hits, good enough offense. Of course, last night was way better than that. For Rojas, he went 2 for 4. Last night, if the Dodgers get anything close to the Miguelrojas they got last night, this club is really, really good. So, hey, man, it was awesome to lean on the veterans to get the rookie through. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. A rough start for him, Gavin Stone. So, okay, 12 hits for the Dodgers, and in those 12 hits, you had 2 doubles, you had a triple, 3 home runs. So half of your hits, half of your 12 hits were extra base hits. A quarter of them were home runs. And so anytime you do that, you're going to be pretty good. And then, too, don't forget, man, the home runs are great. We always talk about that. But it's the singles and the base on balls and the walks and the guys that are on base that turn them from solo home runs to 2 to 3-run home runs that really put the crooked number up and do the damage and make it difficult for the other team to come back because it creates a separation. So the Dodgers not only slugged with half of their hits last night being extra base hits, a quarter of them being home runs, they also just played just great offense overall. They had 6 singles as well, and they had 8 RBIs on the night. So anytime, 3/4 of your runs are actually driven in via an RBI, that's fantastic offense as well. And the Dodgers went 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Hey, would you take a .333 batting average each and every day and twice on Sundays with runners in scoring position? Would you take 3 home runs? Would you take 12 hits? Would you take, obviously the offense last night was fantastic. And it was an offense that was fantastic in the face of having to be fantastic because, again, the Dodgers got down into a 4-0 hole. Okay, so kind of to move to my point, in the second inning, Martinez obviously hit the home run. But in the 4th inning, Freddie Freeman hit the double. Okay, Will Smith advances him on a fly ball, and then Maxmuncy scores him on a ground ball. So, the typical get him on, get him over, get him in. Great offense by the Dodgers. You're showing, and the Dodgers have done that many different times. And in my opinion, when they're at their best, they're slugging, hitting the home runs like we saw with the 3 home runs last night. Freddie Freeman, JD Martinez. But then they're also putting together innings like we saw in the 4th inning last night where you lead off with a double, you move a guy over with a fly ball, you score him on a ground ball, and you're being pesky. And you're scoring not just in 1 or 2 innings, you're scoring in 5 innings, which we saw the Dodgers do last night. And not only that, which is big on the road, and I'll get to that here in just a second, not only score 5 innings on the night, you score in 4 innings in a row. And that is huge on the road for the simple fact that momentum is a big deal. It plays a factor even at the major league level. And when you are scoring in every inning, you're killing that momentum and keeping that home team from gaining momentum and taking control of the game from that perspective. Okay, so the 4th inning, you had to get him on, get him over, get him in. Then you had the JD Martinez single, and you also had the David Peralta RBI triple. So that was fantastic as well. So, hey, like I said, You're playing just every style of offense that you need to do to score in the 5th inning. You have another Miguelrojas single, then mookiebetts walks, and then Freddie Freeman hits the majestic home run. So like I said, hey, the home run's great, but the walk and the single in front of it, that's what really set up that home run to do as much damage as it did. That gave the Dodgers the lead for the final time. That was all they were going to need on the night, as the bullpen was just simply fantastic last night. 6th inning, Miguelrojas doubles again, and then mookiebetts singles him in, so there's an RBI as well. In the 7th inning, maxmuncy gets on base. jdmartinez hits the home run. So there's your scoring. Again, there was a little bit or a lot, whichever way you want to look at it, of a lot. A lot of different ways of scoring, and it was just a really good night offensively for the Dodgers. Okay, so as you can't tell, I'm pretty excited about the way that I love grittiness in baseball. Being gritty is like the favorite thing that I like to watch as far as an athlete, and when they are performing and competing. And so that gritty, the way the Dodgers were gritty last night, really fired me up. I'm still fired up about it. But now let's transition to the pitching. Okay, Gavin Stone, 4 innings, 5 runs, 5 walks, 1 strikeout. Okay, can't sugarcoat it. It wasn't, a great performance for Gavin Stone. I think that's probably, putting it kindly. The 1st inning, okay, it happens. And here's what happened to Gavin Stone. Okay, I told you yesterday that when he gets in trouble, he goes to his secondary pitches, and that's kind of a book on him. Well, everybody knows that. The thing about it nowadays is, before you didn't have all this data, you didn't have it on the internet. If you just go to several different websites right now that are connected with Major League Baseball, all the AAA games are logged just like they are the major leagues as far as the advanced analytics, the pitches that each pitcher's throwing, the locations, the miles per hour, the spin rates, the horizontal movement, the vertical. It's all right there on Baseball Savant for anybody to see. So when pitchers pitch in AAA now and then they move up to the major leagues, there is a big time book on them, because now you have all the data on Baseball Savant just like you do for any of the major league games. So the Atlanta Braves, trust me, they had a book on Gavin Stone. They knew that when he gets in trouble that he goes to his secondary pitches. And the main thing about him last night is he did not throw strikes with his 4-seam fastball. I talked to him in the offseason. He's always had a 2-seam in the past. The Dodgers ditched that 2-seam for him this past offseason. He's strictly a 4-seam guy now, and he's 4-seam slider change. And he just simply didn't throw strikes with his 4-seam last night. As a matter of fact, his 4-seam only landed in the zone last night, 33% of the time. Okay, and he threw his 4-seam a little bit more than he normally does. He threw it 56% of the time last night. He normally only throws it around 50% of the time, and that's because, he had trouble around him. Okay, so let me dive into a little bit further how the Braves, they sat on his secondary stuff when he got in trouble, which is a book on him. Okay, so let me go through this, and I'm going to look to my left just to make sure I have these sequences right. Okay, so Ronald Acuna, this is the 1st inning. This is the ambush inning. Ronald Acuna, a ball on a 4-seam, a strike on a 4-seam. Okay, a ball on a slider, a swinging strike on a slider, and a double on a changeup. All this to get to what I'm getting ready to say here in a moment. Murphy had a ball on a changeup, a single on a 4-seam, and then he had the ambush. Okay, so at that point, all right, then you look at the changeup called strike to Rosario, and then the home run on the changeup. Okay, Rosario hit the changeup for a home run, and here's what had happened. I say all that to say this. Okay, at that point, Gavin Stone had thrown just 4 strikes with his 4-seam to that point in the game out of the 9 4-seams he had thrown. Okay, and like I said, I mentioned yesterday that whenever he gets into trouble, he goes to his secondaries. His changeup is his best pitch. So if you're Rosario, what are you sitting on if you're facing Gavin Stone, who has thrown more balls with his 4-seam to that point than he had strikes, and his best pitch is his changeup? What are you sitting on if you're Eddie Rosario? Okay, you're going to sit on the changeup, correct? Which he did. He ambushed a changeup. He hit it over the fence, 3-run homer, and there you go. So that's an ambush situation right there. In my opinion, no big deal. Easily corrected. Get back in the zone with the 4-seam, mix it up, become more unpredictable, and you're fine. Something of which Gavin Stone, I feel like, did a very, very, very good job with in the innings, 2nd, third, and fourth, and then the fifth inning. So, really honestly, I wasn't disappointed in the way the first inning went. I think it's pretty predictable that a guy comes out, and he's not throwing exactly with the command that he wants to. So he resorts to his best pitch, which, hey, anybody would. When I say resort, that kind of had a negative connotation to it. Didn't mean any negative connotation to that. Okay, and then a major leaguer, they know the book, and they sit on your best pitch that you have, and they hit it for a home run. Okay, that's baseball. That's being a rookie. Hey, welcome to the major leagues, kid, right? One of those kinds of deals. So I just chalk that first inning up to that. No big deal. No worries at all. That doesn't have me, any kind of concern whatsoever, to be honest with you, and not to sugarcoat it. The only part of last night for Gavin Stone that, I was disappointed in, I'll say that, was the 2 walks to start the fifth inning. That, hey, give yourself a chance. You can't walk guys. You got to have the ball in the strike zone. He had recovered. He had given himself, he had stabilized the game. Let me kind of put it to you this way. Let's say that Gavin Stone gave up the 4 runs in the first inning, and then you take him out. Then you bring in a reliever. And let's say a reliever goes the second, third, and fourth innings and doesn't give up any runs. How would you think? Or just gives up 1 run. You would say that reliever did a really good job stabilizing that game, right? So that's what Gavin Stone had done. He had stabilized the game in the second through fourth innings. Then he comes out in the fifth inning and he walks the first 2 hitters. So the only 2 things, like I said, the takeaways for me is that everything that happened to Gavin Stone that led to the 5 runs, totally correctable. And it literally starts with, got to get the 4-seam in the zone. Way, way, way more than 33% of the time. Okay, that 4-seam needs to land in the zone north of 50% of the time. And again, so that's as far as Gavin Stone and the 5 runs, it's totally correctable. That's the exciting part of it, because when his 4-seam was in the zone, we saw it with our own eyes last night. He gets outs, and he gets a lot of outs, and he shuts other teams down. When he doesn't, he gets in trouble. He gets guys on base. The hitters know that the changeup is coming. They sit on it. But again, easier said than done to sit on a changeup and actually execute it. So give the Braves credit for that. Okay, so like I said, only disappointments last night for me as far as the takeaways, not throwing the 4-seam enough for strikes. And then that led to the first 2 walks in the fifth inning, which, hey, man, I've said this many times, and I know the Dodgers believe in this. The reason why they don't want to designate a closer, quote unquote, is because not always the 3 biggest outs of a game are the 3 last outs. I don't think there's any doubt about it last night that evanphillips, he came out and did a pretty good job, at least for the most part, of putting out a fire. And so I think he definitely got the biggest 3 outs last night, although brusdargraterol got the last 3 outs. So I like the fact that the Dodgers give Dave Roberts, the flexibility to use evanphillips and or his best pitchers, in the biggest moments and not just set roles, because a lot of times, it's the 3 outs in the 6th inning, at a particular part in the lineup, or when momentum is hit, this or that, where you actually need evanphillips on the bump versus the 9th inning. So I think using evanphillips in different roles, different parts of the game, finding the biggest 3 outs is the best way to go for the Dodgers. Boy, and how about that bullpen? It was absolutely fantastic last night. Okay, Phillips came in and with 2 on and nobody out and gave up just 1 run as far as the inherited runners. And like I said, those are the biggest outs. Okay, Calebferguson, yencyalmonte, Phil Bickford, and then brusdargraterol got the last outs. And so, boy, the bullpen, they sure came through when they needed to. It was a big win for the Dodgers last night, and that sets them up. Again, the Dodgers are 30-19 on the season. First place in the NL West, first team in the National League to reach 30 wins. And, man, you've had now Michael Grove make a start. Ryan Pepio got hurt. Noah Syndergaard, has missed time. Dustin May's missed time. Julio Urias has been uncharacteristically roughed up in a couple of starts, and now he's hurt. Miguel Rojas has been down. jdmartinez has been down. You've had all these rookies. Now you have Gavin Stone, Bobby Miller on back-to-back days, and guess what? You're the best team in the National League so far with 30 wins. You're in first place in the NL West. How about that? There's people in the Dodgers organization that deserve a lot of credit for that, because that is quite an accomplishment. But hey, this is a ruthless world out there. Everybody's shooting for the Dodgers. Just because you're 30-19 right now doesn't mean anything. We're just a little bit over a quarter of the way through the season. So you got to keep grinding, and you just got to keep finding ways to win games like the Dodgers did last night. Okay, so very exciting. Bobby Miller on the bump tonight for the Dodgers. What you're going to see from him is a lot of excitement. He sat 99 miles an hour the last time that I saw him in Oklahoma City. And hey, just pay attention. As long as he's throwing strikes, okay, his fastball is not necessarily his best pitch. In fact, it's the pitch that gets hit the hardest. When he is landing his other 3 secondary pitches, his fastball, slider, and changeup in the zone, it is unbelievable. And then another thing to watch, hey, when he throws that fastball to the glove side, let's see if he actually lands that in the strike zone, or if he pulls it out of the zone just a touch to the glove side, or if it flattens out. That tends to be where he gets hit the hardest on his fastball. So just a few little things to look for in Bobby Miller, and then watch the emotion. Watch how he just commands the mound. He has a big-time ace-type presence to him. He is super confident, super competitive. He's super fiery. It pisses him off every time he does something that he doesn't think is just almost perfect, and he likes to correct it right away. So I think Dodgers fans, not only, hey, like I said yesterday, everybody has bad outings. I can't guarantee you how this thing's going to go. I can say with confidence that Bobby Miller, in my opinion, is going to be a really, really good Major League pitcher for a long time. Over the long haul of things, you never know how one in particular performance is going to go, but I do think Dodgers fans are going to be pleased, whether this goes good or bad, with what they see with Bobby Miller, his stuff, his potential, and then they're also going to be very entertained by his style. I think they're going to really fall in love with him. So a lot of excitement tonight for the Dodgers. Big game. You have 5 games left on this road trip. You're 1 game below 500 on the road trip. So if you could somehow win, the next, 3 out of the next 5 and go 500 on this road trip, that would be huge. If you just, at the bare minimum, win 2 more of the games, which would be winning 1 of the series, and then losing 1, which is very realistic. If you can just, that be your baseline, and just go 4-6 on the road trip, you're probably still in first place or somewhere very close to that. And you came out of it okay. But hey, it starts with the game tonight. Let's get back to 500 on this road trip with the rookie Bobby Miller on the bump. So there you have it. There's our show for you today. There was no minor league action last night, so no minor league action to talk to. I'm actually going to Tulsa tonight, and I am showing up at 5 o'clock and doing interviews. Can't wait to watch Emmett Sheehan pitch for the best pitching staff in all the minor leagues, the AA Tulsa Drillers. So, hey, leave me a comment if you have a question you would like for me to ask one of the players tonight, or if there's something you'd like to see in the coverage as I go to the AA Tulsa Drillers game tonight. Leave me a comment and let me know what you'd like to see. Other than that, hey, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to today's episode, and I hope that you tune in tomorrow as well. And also, hey, just a reminder before we bounce out of here, we do now have the ability to donate to Dodgers Daily by donating to the GoFundMe account, and the link to that is in the description. Just scroll down and click that. It'll take you right to the Dodgers Daily GoFundMe. Also, one last reminder, if you like this video and content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, share this video, and then become a subscriber. And after you subscribe, click that notification bell, turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll be notified and you'll never miss a thing. And Dodgers Daily can keep growing, and we'll keep doing what we love to do, which is providing videos and content like this in the future. As always, hey, thanks for tuning in, and go Dodgers, beat the Braves tonight. Good luck, Bobby Miller, in your Major League debut.